afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting and riveting, amazing Propagandacaster. I'm your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda, Hero, Psych, Defender of the Fatherland. Also, a quick apology for yesterday's episode going up a bit later than normal. Basically, it was YouTube who had decided that apparently, the time I'd specified, apparently I hadn't. It just basically forgot, but apparently remembered everything else about it, so yeah. Sorry about that. Anyways, off here to a 1 vs 1 on Kholodny Ferma. And these we got VonAsten fighting for the Wehrmacht, Germany, Deutschland fighting on here with Osttruppen, Doctrine versus West. We got Syraw fighting for the Soviet Union, Socialism, Comrade Stalin taking on the role here of the 6th Tank Corps with Gat Motor, Gat Rifle, and Armoured Assault. There's certainly a heavy number of T-35s available and Guardsmen. With infantry Panzerfaust versus mine and infantry penal troopers. There we got a double engineer penal trooper build here for Syraw versus VonAsten's Osttruppen build. So rather, shall I say, the different ends of the opening sort of infantry spectrum, with the much weaker Osttruppen versus the much more powerful penal troopers. Of course, the difference is with the Osttruppen, they can hit the field just so much faster and just get out there and secure ground. So buying off here to deny access there to meet the buildings there for VonAsten in case to rush to the centre, wiring off here. But on the Osttruppen side, you're going to play somewhat aggressively. You're not going to try and play disruptively aggressively, because your Osttruppen are going to get beaten by that. But I was still using them sort of quickly into good positions, and that way make it hard for your opponent to do stuff is going to be quite crucial. Up north, MD4 to aggressively, backed up with the Osttruppen here. VonAsten strikes with the full fury of the fatherland. Forming up here the, let's just say 702nd Infantry Division. Opening up here as the engineers in the centre, Osttruppen moving forward to the scout convoy, the Syraw versus the penal tool build or Osttruppen build, and certainly that could be a very strong move. If your opponent has not, for example, gone for an infantry company, he will be quite vulnerable to that. Of course, going to have to go for the light mechanized company, in which case the scout car with the penal troops and units, you can quickly overrun your opponent. So it's going to be quite a bit of a tricky development here for VonAsten in the early game. Been seeing, by the way, a lot of Osttruppen players of late here from a lot of sort of, shall I say, different Wehrmacht players. It's quite interesting to sort of note how this is making a bit of a comeback there. Certainly highlighting the meta is capable of a few swings here and there. By the way, triple Osttruppen right here for VonAsten. Scout car arming there for Syraw. And the 7th Tank Corps. Quick popping in there. Osttruppen in the house. There we go, moving ahead. More penal troops on the way there for Syraw. VonAsten, of course, is quite vulnerable here due to, just a sheer lack of any anti-tank weapons or anti-vehicle weapons here. He might try and bluff his opponent. In this case, though, Syraw has a bit of an issue, which is that he rushes straight at the MD4 tool, having a bit of a pathing issues there, allowing the scout car to take an incredible amount of damage there from the MD42. Comes to dealing with the Osttruppen. Moving in here to quickly push them away. Very good. Just going to have to get that scout car fixed up swiftly. And VonAsten is going for, briefly consider another MD42, but has apparently decided against it. And instead decides, what, he wants to take up fast so he can, get out of Panzerfaust and probably some counters here to the M3A1, which is always going to be the bane of VonAsten's existence. Also routed by the penal troopers, SVT-40s versus Canard TKs handled by 5th-rate troops essentially. Troops heading southwards here, Pioneer's retreating. He wants to get that light mechanized company up pretty fast, since again, otherwise he is toast. Not even the good kind of toast, the toast that's been burnt too much. Osttruppen moving out there, VonAsten preparing for a larger counterattack backed up by MD42. There we go, medic bunker up as well there. VonAsten does not miss a beat here to at least try and push something out there. Syraw Straffner getting southwards. Penals were basically sort of fogged up of the misbehaving troops, if you will, to put it very mildly, from different types of situations, breaking regulations and whatnot. Heading southwards there. For example, could be tankers who had abandoned their tanks, which was actually against regulations, unless the tank was completely and utterly inoperable. Like it just had some issues the minute it couldn't move. In most cases, crews would abandon their tanks, but certain tank crews were not allowed to do that. Like it had to be on fire and about to explode, more or less. And of course, we got a tank stolen by another crew who did not want to get busted for that. You also basically got, sent to the penal unit. So, little fun fact there. Penal troops on the fire from the MD42 and the Osttruppen. Note, by the way, the Germans also operated penal battalions. It was not a uniquely Soviet thing.
We are losing a sector.
Osttruppen there being routed by the scout. Quick get a wipe here. 2-2 almost done though for him. Oh, doesn't quite get the wipe. It's really close here, but a bit of a bad terrain there for the scout. Ensures the Osttruppen, well, one man lives, the rest did not. Well, we got the 2-2 out here for VonAsten, sent in from a nearby Panzergrenadier Division here to back up the 702nd Infantry Division. Flanking up behind the interior Alpine pot, should be able to clear it up, of course. There's that 2-2 arriving. He might be able to get the MD-42, but the scout car is going to be dead. He could try and steal the MD-4, and he does it. He tries to steal it, but scout car's blocking things a bit here, allowing the 2 to maybe get some extra hits alongside the Osttruppens. And he's not quite getting the retreat button pressed in time. I mean, he could maybe make it off with it, but it's looking a bit close there. Oh, successfully, at least for now it seems like. But there you go, 2 moving up here. Negative cover teams moving up here. Do we have any anti-tank rifles up on the way here for Syraw? We do. We do. Another MD-42 on the way there for VonAsten and the 706th Infantry Division. That's 702nd. Might be able to clear out that MG-42 crew as they pilfer off with it. Though it's going to be pretty close here to Syraw's space. You should have a chance of getting it back. Pumels have almost got the anti-tank rifles ready. We got the Osttruppen moving up there in hot pursuit there, going to tank rifles ready. We should of course try and nab that MG-42 before the Osttruppen sees it, unless of course he's not considering that possibility and wants to get the 2-2. But if it gets the MG-42 back and doesn't get the 2-2, it's obviously going to be a bit of a wash there then for Syraw, and that's exactly what happens. He fails to then get both the MG-42 back to his base and the 2-2. But oh, Satchel Charge might just do it! Oh, destroyed the MG-42, but of course that is better than VonAsten getting it. Still, that was some close stuff there. VonAsten considering going for another 2-2 here. Not a bad choice. A double 2-2, while it can be a bit tricky for some players, and can be a very potent combo. In particular, versus stuff like Penal Troopers who do not have a lot of anti-tank rifles up going there. That can put a lot of pressure on your opponent, and actually also risk wiping out units. So it's a very strong sort of formation. But again, it is a bit tricky since the 2-2s do have a slightly awkward path in here and there, and of course aren't bulletproof. But well executed, double 2-2s can be an absolute nightmare for your opponent. Even 1-2 can be, but double 2-2s, again, skill intensive but very strong. Up north here, we got the 2-2 pushing back the engineers. Penals running up here. Tank command up there for Syraw. Watch there being secured. Osttruppen moving ahead. And to tank penals we have us the 2-2, the Leichte Panzer Speerwagen, which would find itself replaced either by the 234 or by the 250 half tracks, which would be converted towards armoured cars, which is known as the 250 Kaiser. Little fun note there. Basically because the 2-2, as it turns out, was not very great for off-road job, which for reconnaissance vehicles is actually kind of bad. Rather bad, in fact. It's like in a waterproof jacket that turns out doesn't handle rain very well. I know 74 doing hot pursuit by the Penal Troopers. Could risk losing it here. That would be another loss on 84 for VonAsten in the early game. That would be quite devastating. Syraw here going for the T-70 to counter the 2-2s, caught more pressure than VonAsten. Aggressive play by here, back and forth between these two sides. Comes from the centre, bit of trouble there. We've got VonAsten pushing up with the Osttruppen, though without cover they're not wildly effective. They basically can't hit the broadside of a barn from the inside. Another MG-42 VonAsten is committing to more and more machine and Gewehre to help deal with the Russian threat. Not a bad idea. So with that many Penals and cause that many Osttruppen, certainly need something there to help back them up. In that regard, more machine guns is definitely one way to do it. So nice choice there by VonAsten. T-70 out here for Syraw. And the south point there being mined up and seized there by Syraw and the 7th Tank Corps. Flamethrower pioneers pushing out the Penals of the 2-2. They come at the retreat path. T-70 is inbound, racing ahead like a brick of socialism. And there we go. Oh, close one in. The Penal bar, I noticed, are taking heavy damage from the 2-2s. Almost getting taken out here. And Syraw has gone for a doctor. It is guard motor opening up for, of course, the Guardsmen, heavy mortars, and the T-45s. A heavy mortar versus VonAsten wouldn't necessarily be a bad idea, but probably needs to wait until he's gotten rid of the 2-2s. Another attempt to hit the Satchel Charges. Syraw is a very bold player, but again, Satchel Charges can be very nasty. Because if you aren't paying attention, like saying at the right time, you can end up losing a unit. Particularly in buildings, they can be surprisingly quick, useful. Since, like, if your opponent pops in the machine gun, it has a setup time and can't begin setting up, or, you know, packing up again until it's done. So if you pop the satchel at the right time, it can actually take out the machine gun then entirely. So I lost a few machine guns to that personally. Back here, troops reinforcing the south points, they're being secured, and we got, what is this? A supply drop from VonAsten. That certainly indicates there's something going on strategically. That means Bauer can get up to 3 machine guns, which would be, well, a lot of machine guns. Packs, of course, which of course is also interesting in its own way, and of course more resources. So the question, of course, is what VonAsten is planning with this. And of course, if Syraw can discover this and take advantage, I mean, he should figure out there's a supply drop with, you know, the aircraft coming in. He needs to hardly assign that Superman's there. It's a plane, Petrov. No, it's Superman. Why would Superman help the fascists? I don't know. Anyway, it was the guardsman. Grabbing the fuel point there. Guardsman, or Pilgrim units running up there. Bit of a stalled advance there up north. Guardsman in, he's almost got the fuel pump back here, so that's going to be a bit of an additional lead there for VonAsten on top of the supply drop. Pilgrims attacking forwards here. No sign of further attack there for VonAsten. Maximus, the Pilgrims was there who quickly and suppressed. There you go, flanking is flanking in, 2-2 moving in. Osttruppen and more troops in there. In the north, bit of a stall there for Syraw. Most of his forces are doing nothing. That's actually not good. Particularly with all the intense fighting that's going on, this VonAsten is quickly, well, bunching up for a really good punch here. More guardsmen for Syraw. That's going to, I think, reward VonAsten now for having 3 machine guns, since that's a lot of infantry. In which case, having a bunch of machine guns is really good. We got the MD-42 there, we got the MD-42, we got the MD-34 northwards. That's a lot of field control here from VonAsten. That's going to make much harder for Syraw to move about for his infantry. There you go, Guardsmen taking casualties. P2's dropped. T-70s being swarmed by the 2-2s. A bold maneuver there, I think, by VonAsten to the degree that costs him 1. But if he can actually get the 2-2, it's going to, T7 is going to be pretty good there from the end form. Oh! He did not anticipate VonAsten would keep at it, and he actually takes out the T70. They've even loses the 2-2, that's going to, I think, paid off reasonably well there for VonAsten, since the 2-2s have been able to disrupt and do a lot of damage there to Syraw. So, very nasty, but strong play there. So I think needs to put more pressure on the other side, needs to try and outmaneuver. And he might actually want to consider heavy mortars simply for the smoke screens, like in that way negate VonAsten's machine guns rapidly. Because right now VonAsten's going to basically just look to restrain Syraw as much as possible. MD-34 there, manned by the Osttruppen, is giving Syraw here a hard time. Heavy fire there raining down. Gathering up the rest of the Osttruppen. Units on watch. And certainly highlights just how much of a pain in the ass gut machine gun play can be. Even the MD-34, which I know some players like to lament. But still, a well-handled MD-34 can also be an absolute pain in the ass for the opponent if it is well-handled. So counter-attack here in the north. Machine gun was a bit overwhelmed in this case, though, by a good flank there by Syraw. Nice work. VonAsten is taking up. Very good. Sehr gut. Syraw there is moving ahead in a very broad front, taking advantage of all his infantry to quickly just seize a lot of ground, which is definitely crucial right now. Victory points-wise, Syraw is in the lead over VonAsten and his fascist friends. And he's going for tier 4. VonAsten is feeling very emboldened right now by things, and is basically pushing straight ahead for that. Partly, I imagine, due to his fuel harassment and his other minor successes. And I'm guessing in part, he feels like he's got 3 machine guns. He can probably ruin Syraw staying enough to pull that off, though it's going to be a bit risky. But, I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, he's VonAsten, so he's probably one of the few players I trust to actually pull this off. Units are taking fire there. We got the M40, we got the 2-2 moving up here. Virtually 2 gain, only 2-2-2. Nice work. 9 kills as well. People have been caught out in the open by the 2-2 trying to flank that MD-42. People went into tank rifles. And there you go. We got more machine guns. We got Osttruppen punishment to try and stop here Syraw from exploiting VonAsten's northern weak flank here. And he gets off the anti-tank subject on the 2-2-2. That will likely spell its doom. Yep. Finally getting rid of it, but at the same time, I'd say they've done their job quite well here for VonAsten, and in course Syraw quite a bit of grief, pain, and trouble. Car following them being hit, Syraw does not slow down here versus VonAsten. He shows no mercy. And we can see that the Syraw is actually back taking up the support from Company, delaying potentially any arm charge. Going to be an idea here versus VonAsten. Of course, he's probably not aware that VonAsten is playing for tier 4, though he will probably soon find out of it if VonAsten here is popping like machine guns left and right. Ooh, we actually got an Osttruppen squad. That's a bit of a loss there for VonAsten. He could replace with Panzergunners, there we go, or an officer. Pioneers are being shot as he's laying down a full S-mine field on the carve point. VonAsten's cheek here knows no bounds. Very cheeky play there, and pretty much just delays Syraw from grabbing back. Although in this case, he is at least fortunate enough to have gotten mines from teams. He's less fortunate that they're down at VonAsten's field point, so he can't actually immediately deal with this. He's laying down mines and going, you know, if you can mine our field point, we can mine yours. Let's do this, boys. Panzergrenadier out here for VonAsten, equipped with the mighty Sturmgewehr 44. Gas running up, backed up engineers and penal troopers. There we go. He's trying to creep up, hoping there's a patch there where the S-mines don't cover much, because the thing is, with the S-mine placement, they're kind of random, so at times, like, until you done a full field, there'll be sort of spots where there's just no S-mines. I'm kind of guessing that's what Syraw hoped for there. Sadly, Yuri, Sergei and Dmitry were not quite as lucky.
The enemy is taking our territory.
Machine recovering up here, northern points being seized. He's got the fuel point under control, he's denying VonAsten a bit of fuel. He's got the here panzer color going up, and Syraw's got nothing there. We've got a maximum out here for Syraw to help contain some all of VonAsten's infantry, though at this stage I'd probably just, you know, again, just a heavy mortar. Although, if he's going to get hit by heavy armor, you know, field gun might be an idea unless VonAsten's going for the Sturmpanzer IV, in which case he's actually going to need tanks. Or a pair of S-Troops into 6Ms, they can also work. They get a bit, I think, of a bad rep, but they're still pretty good in the hands of a good player. Pumps are then moving about 9 kills, troops are healing and forcing. Gasping there, pinned down by an MG-42. VonAsten's got a nice network with their machine gun sort of covering a lot of area there, making it harder there for Syraw to push ahead. Though he's still finding himself a bit more under pressure now, a bit more on the defensive as Syraw unleashes violent attack after violent attack. And there you go, awesome with light machine guns up. So at this stage, once Syraw sees this, he should of course be factoring in the high likelihood that his opponent is, you know, going for tier 4, and they need something to stop it. Got the mechanized armor company up there, very good, very good. So it's going to take some time to get out any armor from it. You could maybe consider fuel cache to assist with that just a tad. Mines being laid down, we can see the VonAsten's being very thorough in mines. We've seen mines here, mines there that they've gotten swept, mines there of course, so very good work there by VonAsten mining. In particular I would say, as the match goes longer and longer on, the more they can actually keep mining is usually a good sign of a player's skill and also endurance. Punches there versus the Strafniki. Osttruppen machine gun here. He's a bit worried here, probably because he's not a good position to find an infantry here, plus the machine gun, and also just possibility of bomb grenades. So right, he ends up just falling back, Panzer's getting off some nice good hits. In the south, stalling up his opponent. And there you go, grenade off. One Osttruppen dead, but I don't think that's something VonAsten's going to be shedding any tears over. Sturmpanzer V on the way there for VonAsten to blast his way through Syraw's positions. Not a bad choice at all. Arguably perhaps a bit greedy, but in this situation, not too much. Troops are healing and forcing. He's going to need some armor up to stop that Sturmpanzer IV as soon as possible. A T-35 would be a good sort of choice for taking our head on. H-85 could also be good. In part, would also set him up for a potential Panther, which is likely what VonAsten will go for next, unless he decides he just wants to spam Sturmpanzers. But I don't think that'd be too characteristic of VonAsten. At least in my experience. Strength from the MG-42 not got spot there for Syraw's Guardsman. And there we go, Sturmpanzer IV arrives. Back here, troops healing and forcing. 10% command running course silent now. It's not far off from a T-45 or the H-85. That could work out, I think, nicely for Syraw versus VonAsten's Sturmpanzer 4. He just needs to make the actual damn choice. But there you go, Sturmpanzer moving ahead, equipped with its 150mm howitzer, ready to blast any Bolsheviks apart. Adding the penal back machine gun there. Up north, machine gun holding down the penal troopers there. You just need to get the devil out of there before the Sturmpanzer 4 sends them to a very unpleasant grave in many pieces. Penals though almost taken out by the Sturmpanzer 4, an excellent shot there by VonAsten. Syraw can soon, very soon in fact, go for the T-45 or the H-85. T-45 of course will be just the faster choice. Oh, sound charge off. The Penals might be in fact a bit too close though. Oh, not too close then. Lucky for Syraw. So what is he going for? No sign of armor yet there from Syraw. No T-45, no H-85. That, again, really I think should be his main priority right now at the moment here versus VonAsten. More pioneers than VonAsten that repair his armor. Very good, very good. Piece of cover explodes. Naturally. As pieces of cover are wont to do. And we got the T-45 on the way there for Syraw and the 7th Tank Corps. You got the Soviet Armoured Corps mechanized tank is usually the equivalent of a Western division due to some of all the losses that they suffered during Operation Barbarossa. The Russians basically downgraded most armoured units to sort of include much smaller numbers, so that rather meant once at a certain point you kind of hit inflation, meaning a tank corps, mechanized corps, that way became equivalent to a German division. I think with infantry divisions they were sort of roughly the same size, Western unit. Little fun note there. The Germans, by the way, were slightly trying to think in some ways to repeat that trick as well there, though less successfully.
Forces are securing our territory.
So, little fun note there in history. T-35 there, good to go. Basically just a T-34-76 with a bigger turret. That was overall better, and of course had a gun that was much bigger as well. The hull itself, I believe, saw no real major changes. Mostly just, keep production, relatively simple without having to redo entire production lines, which tend to be something people tend to underestimate as an actual fact. Just retooling entire production lines is a really big deal. Let's jump onto the tank right here from the T-45. Infantry gun that easily pierces the arm. We got lots of settlements as well. Very good work there by VonAsten. Machine gun bunker on the way, nice over there by VonAsten as well. You don't get to see a lot of machine gun bunkers from the Wehrmacht, but it is interesting to see when you do. Almost got it, Pack 40 setting up here. Bunker down, a bit of a blow there to VonAsten. T-45 over there rolling away. MD-42 Osttruppen and North Engineers right as well there. Lots of overlapping machine guns. Of course, still got more telemines down there for VonAsten. Very good. Engineers Penals were setting out. Here, victory points wise. Syraw has still got a big lead here over VonAsten, which is nice to see. Unless you're VonAsten, of course, in which case it's not nice to see. It's actually a bit of a problem. Sicily on the way there for Syraw to help deal with the Sturmpanzer, of course, also an potential armor VonAsten might follow up with. I mean, he's very likely the thing to go for a Panther next to help deal with this. T-45 engaging the Osttruppen up north. Pushing their way, troops are hitting and forcing. Sturmpanzer, Panzer's running up there. Penals are taking nasty veterans one gain there. On the Mächtiger Sturmpanzer 4. And a full wipe there. Devastating work. The Syraw down to just 3 infantry squads now. quite a nasty hit there. Well done by VonAsten. So that's always struggling with map control now. The lack of infantry, but also just the impunity with which VonAsten operates his Sturmpanzer is really pushing Syraw into an awkward spot. And VonAsten is soon able to go for the Panther, which I think is going to leave Syraw in an even stickier spot. We got lots more Telemines down by the way there. VonAsten is absolutely on the ball with those, so he does not waste a moment here to just mine up and just trying to basically ruin any attack Syraw might be planning here. Could he be planning one here? But there you go, Panther on the way there for VonAsten, the Panzerkampfwagen 5. Pride of the Vaterland. Field gun now holding up, and there you go, direct hit on the Sturmpanzer, which had a roughly 100mm thick armour on the front. Roughly down to half health up north here, finding another field point there. We got Osttruppen with the light machine holding back the penal troopers. So I need some support there to quickly round them. I'm surprised to still see no absolute attempt really at artillery support from Syraw. Again, a heavy mortar I think could have done him a lot of good at times here versus VonAsten, though of course not losing the T7 like he did could probably also help him a bunch. Another field gun there from Syraw. He's obviously aware he's like getting hit by more armour and he wants more anti-tank weapons to stop that. Awesome finding the cover crumbling. No Telemines there, but we got S1 to cover the southern victory point. Very good work there. It's going to make it hard there for Syraw to just rush in and sort of sneak that one up. The north machine gun there being routed by the mighty T-35 there, unleashing a volley of death alongside its main gun. And for those wondering what those barrels are doing on the rear of the tank, they're basically there to increase the range of the tank because they're just there to service fuel canisters. Most of the time though, I mean by the time they're out on the battlefield at the empties there'll be no problems, so occasionally they won't, and that'll just kind of help the tank catch on fire, but you know, usually most of the time, no problem. It was also used by the eyes too. That's an example there. But I think overall the rations there on most of the tanks. Panther engaging the north, pin up soon being added. Field gun there being blasted with the Panthers into the Osttruppen. Not good there for Syraw, leaves his tanks rather exposed. Ooh, field gun barrage, the T4 lands a nice hit as well there. Other field gun flanked with the Sturmpanzer, nice work there by him. Field gun wiped out, not good there. And we got the Pack 40 backing up. The Sturmpanzer into the second hit in return. Sturmpanzer trying to take out the field gun, almost succeeds. Panzer gun demoing up now to try to take out that field gun, in which case Syraw would be left really exposed here against VonAsten. And there goes, second field gun crew expires. Panther moves on the other side. T-35 there is now isolated here as VonAsten pulls in for the kill here. Bomb grenade on the retreating engineers as well. An absolutely bold movement, almost takes it up. T-35 goes down into the Pack 40. Simply too much going on there for Syraw, and VonAsten is beating him senseless now. Field gun in a bit of a bad spot here as the Panther goes in the other field gun there, correct with the VFU Reds and get within range. That field gun is gone, there you go. Other one gets a good hit there in the rear of the Panther, does a bit of damage. You got Garsman backing up as well, there he's hitting the dirt. Might try and button up here, just make it easy target here for the field gun, but no, we got the Sturmpanzer tank from the other side. Eventually, 2 extra fire on the way there for Syraw, finally. And the field gun crew expires thanks to the power of the Panthers machine guns and the Sturmpanzer force. 150mm howitzer, Pumps moving ahead, engineers, Maxims as well there. Grabbing the field gun whatever he can. In this case, the Pumps will discuss the need to retreat soon. Pioneers to wipe to repair the Sturmpanzer for a bit of an oversight there, but VonAsten, which Syraw did see an opportunity to punish for and did. Nice work there, even in this otherwise gloomy looking situation there. Big 2 points still rapidly bleeding out for Syraw here. Sturmpanzer forms down to the field gun, but the field gun is barely holding on here. VonAsten is showing no mercy and he's taking no prisoners. Building boy ammunition is cashed up here on the calf point as well. Probably just to supply him with more mines. Flame for using Salfords could get wiped out there if they go straight for the victory point. He's not paying attention. Pums was there retreating in the north here as VonAsten strikes. Close one there. H-5 tanks right here for Syraw, based on the T-34 chassis. And equipped with more or less the same gun as the T-35. In fact, once the T-35 arrived, the H-5 was phased out. But they still kept building them in part because, well, they were sort of waiting up for the Su-100 tank destroyer, which only really came very late 1945 in small numbers. Also had some issues, basically the same though as the Jagdpanzer long gun did, which is basically the long gun was too big. Got a chance here. Up north here, Pumes was coming in, MD-34, they're covering it all up, close to the ace level on that one as well. And there we go, nice work by VonAsten. He could pop some into the armor piece around for extra damage. And pinned it down. We're down to 235, it's 215. Note here in this case, overlapping machine guns. Su-5 hanging back. He's hoping to, you know, draw in, I think, some of VonAsten's armor and then blast it with the Su-5 field gun combo and quickly hope to take out some of VonAsten's armor. And VonAsten's committing to his second Sturmpanzer at this stage. He's clearly not too worried about Syraw's armored elements now. He's more focusing on any support weapons, which could give him more of a hard time. So committing to the second Sturmpanzer, just, you know, utterly annihilated. Well, makes sense. Also, they're defending up north again versus the Guardsmen, breaking the Soviets there with light machine gun fire. In the centre, machine gun there stopping Syraw from grabbing the central one. And the south S-mines told whatever there what Syraw might have been planning. So overall, not a particularly amazing looking situation here for Syraw versus VonAsten. Sturmpanzer 4 is more or less ready. He just oh, there we go, arrives. That's going to be double Sturmpanzers versus Syraw. And there we go, GG, game over, loss here for Syraw, a victory for VonAsten, a victory for the fatherland, a nice little fight here featuring the Osttruppen, Doctrine, Panthers and Sturmpanzers. Some good play there for VonAsten, so also highlighting just how powerful well-handled machine guns can be. In this case, triple machine guns really made it a lot harder for Syraw to go for anything, and he never really countered them. I mean, we saw no mortars, no smoke screens, even say half-tacks have really stopped that. Additionally, the 2-2s further just constrained Syraw's tactics. In this regard, VonAsten was able to really execute a very successful control strategy, basically slowing down Syraw and make it difficult for Syraw to play to his own strengths, and that way just stall into the late game successfully. So really top-notch play here by VonAsten, showing what you can do with the Wehrmacht, the Osttruppen, and what you can do with machine guns and 2-2. So 2 thumbs out there. VonAsten, Syraw I think had some chances, but I think failed to, you know, again, fully realise VonAsten's strategy and sort of counter it properly. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe, like, share, comment on it. Tell your friends, tell your family, but don't tell your enemies. This is Imperial Links and cheers. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you tomorrow again for a nice hunting episode. Bye.